Back to another video, and in this video I'm showing you everything has been added, changed and fixed in Minecraft Snapshot 23w44a. And so of course last week we got the new copper and tough blocks, and this week is a smaller snapshot with a couple of changes to the copper doors and trapdoors and some bug fixes as well. So let's go over today's snapshot. But before we do that, of course, also, if you haven't seen this new cape over here, it's a new Java Edition cape, the Cherry Blossom cape or Cherry cape. And if you don't know about this cape, then check out the video I've made on it. The link is in the top right of your screen. You can watch the video right after this one. It looks amazing and I think it is actually incredible. But alright, let's go over today's snapshot. And of course, this video is a live stream at the same time as well, so that's why there's no editing in this video. But let's get started with the main change in this snapshot, and that is the updated textures to the doors and copper trap doors and copper doors. Also got distracted by this weird bug here with these cherry trees. But alright, let's see the new textures. So copper doors and copper trap doors apparently have new textures. Okay, they haven't changed that much. They don't look too different from the previous textures, but this is what both of these now look like. And of course, they have pretty much the same textures for all the oxidation stages. So let's quickly take a look at that. With a debug stick, that's probably the easiest way to do that. Powered, open, hinge, half, facing. Oh, that's not how it works because it's different blocks, of course. So let's grab the other ones as well. So there's the exposed ones, the weathered ones, and the oxidized ones, and all of them have slightly tweaked textures. So there's the weathered ones, or the exposed ones, the weathered ones. Oh, that looks weird. That's just the top part of the door. And finally also the exposed copper trapdoor and door, which I guess we'll place on this side because we don't have any more space. There we go. So that's what all of these now look like. The oxidized versions, the regular versions, the exposed versions, and also the weathered versions. Then next there are also some technical changes. So the data pack version has been updated to 23, which means you can now add loot tables to decorated pots. And then beyond that, there's more technical changes. So those are some changes to different commands. So in the previous snapshot, they also added the tick command, which actually didn't really go into that much. But there are many different options here with the tick command. You can use it to actually freeze the game. So you can do tick freeze, and you can see that the entire game has suddenly frozen. All these particles are just frozen in mid-air. Also, all the mobs have been frozen, so that's quite strange. And we can unfreeze that with the unfreeze command, of course. So unfreeze, and there we go, everything goes back to normal. Then if we do query, we get the current tick rate. So that is that right there. So every ticks per... the tick rate target is 20 per second, as you can see there. And then the other options here are to set the rate, sprint, and the step. So rate is by default set to 20. If you just do tick rate like this, it gives you an error, but you can set it to 1, for example, which makes the game very, very slow. Even shifting and stuff like that becomes slow. Looking around goes very slowly. But you can also make it faster by setting it to 100, for example, or maybe even 1000. And that makes a game a whole lot quicker. And you can loop through different stages as well. So that is how that works. And then there's also sprint. You can sprint through the game as well. You can sprint through, for example, 3 days like this, which means you just sprint through 3 days of the game in quick succession. And finally, there's tick step as well, which you can do for 1 second. And of course, you have to freeze the game first before you do the tick step. So you can do tick freeze like this, and then tick step to step the game slowly forwards. You can do 1 tick to move the game 1 tick forward every single time. You can see that by the particles moving every time you do that. And you can also do it with 1 second like that, and it freezes again. So what they say is that the time parameter in the tick step command is now optional. The default is 1. So you can just do time step, press enter, and that brings it forward 1 tick. So that has been added now. And they've also changed part of the return command. So return run will now always return. And there's some more technical stuff there which you can read through for yourself in the patch notes. I'll leave in the links in the description down below. There's also some changes to the function command. So if function runs multiple functions in combination with return run, execution will stop after the first return in any of the functions. Again, quite technical and not for most people. And then finally, there's also a change to the execute if unless function. This function will no longer always fail if all functions had no return. Alright, then there's also quite a few bug fixes. So when teleporting with chorus fruit, the teleportation sounds play at the wrong location. So that's now been fixed. Subtitles for turning the copper bulb on or off display a raw translation string. So they are now correct as well. And there are some more subtitle fixes as well. The top of the copper doors include an open part of the window. So that has now been fixed. So this the change to the copper doors. And chiseled copper cannot be stone cut from cut copper blocks. So that's a change to the stone cutter. If you now put a cut copper inside of the stone cutter, you will be able to actually create a chiseled copper. So put this in here and you can create chiseled copper now. The copper door item texture is inconsistent with the block. So also the item in your inventories has been changed. So this looks different now as well for the copper door. And that's pretty much most of the bug fixes, I think, as well in today's snapshot. If you want to read through the full patch notes, I'll leave them linked in the description down below, so you can check them out there. But that is pretty much it for Minecraft Snapshot 23w44a. A bit of a smaller snapshot, but then next week's snapshots will probably include another big change, such as, for example, the breeze or the trial chamber. Let's see what we get in future snapshots. If you want to stay up to date with future snapshots, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you like this video, then please leave a like and subscribe!